So you want to make cool projects like this, or cheat your game, or finally understand how to automate your life with Python. Maybe you're just here procrastinating on your actual work. Look, everyone says just learn Python because it's the easiest language. And they're right. But let's be honest, who has time for those 6-hour tutorials that you'll forget anyway? So I'm going to teach you the core concept in a fun way. Let's go. Let's think of variable in game settings. Now let's assume you're playing Valorant. There are three main types you need to know. Your agent name or your username is a string, for example. And here's how it will look in a code. Your HP and your bullet is an example of integer. And we could represent your skill as a boolean variable. So if the icon is grayed out, that means has skill is false. That's it for variables. Simple, right? But here's the thing. Having variable is like having ingredients. You need to actually cook with them. Now, this is where your code gets smart. Remember those grayed out abilities icon? Then it would look something like this. If we have the skill, then we can use the skill. And if we don't have the skill, which means it's a grayed out icon, we cannot use the skill. If statements are literally how every game decides what you can and can't do. Low on ammo, then can't shoot. Health at zero, then you die. Your code is basically just asking, if this, then what? Fun fact, if you know the game Undertale, the core concept was written in basically 1,000 of if cases. Lists. Remember your Pokemon team? Do you wonder how they store these values? Yeah, they use a list. And you can represent it with something like this. Lists are like your inventory in any game. You can add items, remove them, check what's inside, or even sort them. You know your Pokemon box? That's also just another list with your Pokemon names inside. Loops are the most powerful thing in programming. There are two types of it, for loops and while loops. For loops are like saying, do this for each item in my list. Here's it's printing the item. A simple scenario is when you're healing your Pokemon in the Pokemon Center. As we can see, it's healing every Pokemon by going through each of them. While loop, on the other hand, keeps going until something changes. Let's assume a scenario where you are studying with your mom, and your mom is watching. So you are studying. But what happens if she is not watching? Of course, you go to play games.
Defeat.
I'll be honest, I barely use while loop. For loops are just superior in everything, in my opinion. When people hear of program function, they start to panic because they start to think about hard program with like 200 lines of code. But a function can be as simple as anything. This is a function to print the input. It's only like 3 lines of code, including using the function. Functions are just custom commands you create. So instead of writing the same code over and over, you just copy paste the main logic so you can use the function over and over again. Let's say you have a coffee machine. Each button can represent a function. For example, make coffee, make cappuccino, or make hot chocolate, or make a latte. Inside each function, there's already a preset of code that knows what to do, and you can use them over and over again. Alright, I'm pretty sure your brain is fried by now, and you guys did it. That's all the concept you need to know. Now, of course, there are more advanced concepts. This website called roadmap.sh provides a really good outline of it. But I don't really recommend that because here's the truth. Watching tutorials won't make you a programmer. Building stuff will. Back then, I learned a lot of Python because I was scraping anime datas and making charts and visualization nobody even care about. Was it useful? Maybe. Did I learn a ton? Absolutely. So start building program for what interests you. Tracking your game stats? Build that. Automate downloading your content from YouTube? Build that. Make an auto clicker for games? Build that. Do what is fun for you. Now, you might ask me, Dylan, but what if I don't know what project to build? Don't worry, I got you. You can go to this GitHub called Build Your Own X. It's a GitHub repository containing links about recreating technologies that we often use with our desired language. For example, in our case, it's Python. You can build stuff like augmented reality, your own search engine, your own text editor, and don't worry if it sounds scary because they also provide guides on how to build those stuff. So you can follow along and build your own project based on their projects. And people might hate me to say this, but when you're building the projects, if you get stuck, please use AI to help you. And I don't mean that by copy pasting everything. That is useless. Use GPT or Claude to explain concepts and why your code isn't working. Trust me, it's way better than Googling everything and still end up with a half-assed code. So you've mastered Python basics and built some projects. So why is Python so popular? It's mainly used for data science, machine learning, and AI. Picture this. I could build a machine learning model to predict if my video will flop or go viral. Now, I'm not going to turn this into a 3-hour tutorial for that because that's not the point of the video. But just know about this interesting trajectory. Alright, real talk. I had an absolute blast making this video. If you guys like it, maybe I'll make some for another language in the future. For now, bye!